One big thing is my deceased grandmother, who in a real sense started me on this journey years ago, age 4 or 5. A grandmother who said I was going to be a preacher, a grandmother who I said, no, I don't think you know what you're talking about, but a grandmother who won out nevertheless. She didn't get to see her dream in some sense fulfilled, lived out, although I think she grasped it in faith. But as I look at the last 3 or 4 or 5 months of my episcopacy, I feel like one of the things I'm going to say to her in spirit, we call grandmother Mama, Mama, I've completed this course and I've attempted to keep the faith. And so that will really feel good as a fulfillment of the dream that she had for me in ministry. One of the gifts I think that my grandmother brought to us, since there was no father in the home, and so we grew up in her house, and so we had to live by her rules, and going to church and doing all the things. So basically, she was great at setting a foundation, laying out high expectations for church, school, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And really functioned for me as the major instrument that God had chosen to call me into ministry. I used to think that was her own personal thing, but of late, down through the years, I said, aha, God chose her to be the major instrument. So that's one. Secondly, of course, her daughter, my mother, for years and years and years, of course, was a community developer for the General Board of Global Ministries. And in her ministry has been primarily, in a real sense, if you talk about imprint, has had a strong social justice bent about it. And so there's been no social issue, no social concern that she hasn't attacked, fought, and wrestled with people in Fort Smith, Arkansas and the nation about it, whether that's racism or whether that's women's rights or whether that's issues of voting, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So she's also set a strong foundation in terms of the passion for her ministry. I said she's met the world, she's met presidents, she's moved that. I said, but you know, ministry goes in a different way. And so the thing that I've claimed from mother is this. One other comment that my mother made to me down through the years, from a family of 10, 5 boys, 5 girls. One of the things that she wanted to do when we were growing up, we lived of course, in my mama's home, and she always wanted to give a lot of money to the church, but she couldn't. So she came up with this. She says, well, we can't give money, but we can give service. And so the expression of service and servanthood really emerged for me, yes, through scripture and all that stuff, but primarily through my mother. And so she thought that service meant that she could volunteer her kids to go and work in the church and sweep the floors and do all the things that needed to be done. But later on, when she had a chance to become a community developer, she became one of the top community developers, I think, in the church, and continues so today. She's been retired since 1970. It's hardly a year that goes by that 3 or 4 agencies in Fort Smith or around aren't awarding her award for past work and even the work that she tries to do now at 92. In fact, she just told me about a month ago that she had to make a speech. And so she was trying her speech out on me, but again, social justice, hitting the issues real hard. So then thirdly, my wife Beverly, we were married in '69, and her push and her strength has been primarily spiritual. She's a lifelong Seventh-day Adventist. I tithe because of her. There's been no meeting, no anything that I have not gone out. I have not gone out bathed in prayer that she has prayed for me. Down through the years, she has continued her Bible study alone at the house that comes out of her Seventh-day Adventist tradition. And so even in our life as local church pastor, whatever, the kids never had to be Seventh-day Adventist. She says, we're on the journey. And so our kids came up in United Methodist Church, and people always thought she was United Methodist, but she's not. But that aside, the spiritual foundations of Beverly touch me even to this very moment.